Hey everyone, it's Johnny, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to part 2 of, we'll call this the subscriber special, if you will. So for those of you who did not catch part 1 of this two-part video, one of my wonderful, lovely YouTube subscribers, Ms. Amaris, was so kind to offer to send and share with me some of her favorite vendor waxes. And I was so flattered and honored, and I certainly had to share them with all of you because that's what we waxaholics gotta do. We gotta stick together and share all the wonderful, great scents that we find. So, in the last video, we covered quite a bit about one particular vendor because there were quite a few samples from them, as well as a couple bars, which was called Closet Full of Wax. And as she notes, they have some of the best smelling pear, blackberry, and apple scents. And if you were able to watch that video or have time to go back and check that one out, some of the different ones in there did share some of those scent profiles. And she also makes note that the coffee scent is one of the best. So they apparently also carry sample boxes. So that's something that, again, when I get a chance, I may have to go and grab some sample boxes from them myself, because on Cold Sniff, most of them were like, all right, woohoo. So that being said, in this video, we're going to be talking about a couple other different vendors that she was kind enough to share with me. So we have Nana Makes Sense. That's one of the vendors. We have L3 Waxy Wonders. I want to make sure I say these right. Sparkles Wax Melts, Teddy Bees Wax Company, Earth Goddess Treasure Box, and A to Z Candles. So, without further ado, let's dive in because there's a bunch and my nose is so excited to smell them all. So let's start with the one where there's only one of. So let's start with our A to Z Candles. These are soy wax melts. And this is the scent Wild Honeysuckle. All right, so this one, I love honeysuckle scents, and for those of you who have been watching my channel, a good honeysuckle scent is hard to find, and when you find one, well, when I find one, I go crazy. So we're going to see what this one smells like. Are we ready? Ooh. All right, I have to pull one of these out and stick it on my schnoz. Oh, they're the little star-shaped. Oh, they're so cute. Oh yeah, okay. This is definitely honeysuckle. Let's bring me back. So the story behind honeysuckle for me is that my grandmother used to have these honeysuckle bushes in her backyard. She had this huge backyard, loved it. She had like lilac trees, that's why I love lilac scents. She had hyacinths, like you name the flowers she had it. Peonies, bushes, peony trees, magnolias, lilies, poppies, everything. And so like it was just, when things were, there was always something in bloom and it was just immaculate and they were just so well taken care of and loved for. But I remember she had these honeysuckle bushes and I had like a little swing set there when I go to visit her. And the swing set was right by the honeysuckle bushes. And so when you're like wafting back and forth and swinging, you're getting like these big, basically deep breaths of honeysuckle. And oh, it's so good. So this definitely is a solid honeysuckle scent. I will say, I feel like it's slightly, there's a slight musk note to it compared to, say, the only other honeysuckle scent that comes to mind that is actually worth like even talking about is the, I think it's from Mainstays actually. It was a honeysuckle, fresh honeysuckle from the Mainstays wax collection from Walmart. And I was thoroughly shocked because I've had such hit or miss results with some of their waxes. They're very on the cheaper end price point wise, but for what it's worth. I wouldn't say that you get what you pay for all the time, but in that sense, I felt for a while it was like, and then like I smelled their honeysuckle scent and I was like blown away. And then I was like, of course it's out of season and I can't find it anywhere. What do I do? So I have a few bars of that I've been like hoarding away because I want to find more of it. But this is a really nice honeysuckle scent. It's has a slight musk note to this, I think. But overall, I really enjoy it. So thank you so much for this one. This is definitely, it was definitely bringing back some memories there. So it's doing something right. So I can't wait. I might have to warm that tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see. So many options. All right. Next, let's move on to Teddy Beeswax Company. So this is a vendor that she makes mention surprised her with the peppermint scent. And I love peppermint scents. Apparently, she's not as fond of them, but this one was like a good, perfect blend and balance with like bakery. So we have crushed candy cane, circus cookies, and sweetheart cookies. So this is described as pink sugar, frosted sugar cookies, shortbread, birthday cake, and sweet milk layered with frosted circus sugar cookies, blended with candy canes and vanilla. There's a whole lot of sugar, cookies, and frosted things going on in here. Lots of things. So I am a little bit leery because I do love peppermint scents, but I'm not a huge like bakery gourmand person. So I hope that this isn't like super sweet because it does sound like there's a lot of sweet notes in this. So here we go. Let's find out. Oh, that's interesting. So I definitely get like that shortbread sort of sugar, circus sugar cookie thing going on. Definitely buttery, like cookie note in there. You definitely get a burst of frosted, like icing, frosting, whatever you want to call it. But then you also get the candy cane note. Like it's definitely in there. Yeah, it's in there. That's very interesting. I like that. It has such a very unique sort of scent to it. Like it is a great blend of like a candy cane sort of mint scent. But you get a lot of like that cookie, like butter cookie sweetness from like the shortbread even. There's a little bit of a hint of dryness to it. And then you get like that frosting note. It really works well. It's a very unusual blend, but I actually really enjoy it. So I'm curious to see how this works. And this looks like it's a beeswax, which is also really exciting because I've never tried beeswax. I've tried like soy waxes and paraffin and blends, but I have been curious about, but haven't tried beeswax. So this will be very exciting to try. Because it'll be like double things, a new vendor and a new type of wax to melt. So very exciting with this one. All right. And it looks like there's a little sampler here too from them called the Hamptons. And this is a watermelon lemonade type, salty sea air, and crisp linen. So we're looking at like a fruity, oceanic laundry scent. Let's see. Ooh. Ooh, so the other scent was really, really nice. And I like the minty note to this, but not gonna lie, I didn't think I would like this one as much as I am kind of liking this one. This is like you really get the watermelon in this. Maybe not so much the lemonade component. You get more like the oceany, salty sea air component. But you get like the watermelon note in this. And it's like an authentic watermelon. Like my problem with like Scentsy's watermelon tangerine is it almost feels slightly artificial watermelon-y to me at a certain point in its warming. This right out, this smells like fresh, like watermelon. Oh, there's like the lemonade sort of note to it. Ooh, there's like definitely a watermelon and a lemonade vibe to this. I am digging this. I don't know if I get a whole lot of crisp linen. Maybe a light laundry scent in this. But it's like a lemony, salty sea air. This is really good. With a little bit of a bite to it. So it's not like an overly sweet lemonade. It's almost like a little bit of a tart lemon. That is good too. Okay, well now I'm excited. I have 2 different exciting beeswax adventures to try. All right, next let's try our Earth Goddess Treasure Box Wax Company. So this is, oh, I forgot to tell you, Teddy Bees Wax Company. The website is teddybeeswaxco.com. And then for the A to Z candles, which is the wild honeysuckle, it doesn't say it on here, but I would guess if you search A to Z candles or A to Z candles.com, maybe that might be their website if they have one. All right, so Earth Goddess Treasure Box at earthgoddesstreasurebox.com. So we have these 2 lovely little clamshells. Now, one thing I do notice right off the bat is that there's glitter poured into the wax molds with the wax, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, it's not going to enhance or detract from the scent throw. But I will say, having previous experience with waxes that did have glitter in them, they can get a little bit messy and obnoxious when you're trying to clean out the wax from your dishes. So just keep that in mind. And usually the glitter tends, from my experience, to kind of like soak down to the bottom and just make a big clump on the bottom, which can be kind of annoying. So while these kind of look cool aesthetically in the actual packaging, practicality-wise, I'm not super wild about having glitter inside of my wax bars, but that's okay. So this one, I should probably read what this is. This is called Holiday Cabernet. And it's, okay, compared to the last couple ones I've been smelling, it's a lighter sort of smell. Oh no, never mind. So I do get like a berry, grape, like almost sort of plummy, red berry vibe, but it also kind of gives me a little bit of like Goose Creek's. Oh, I'm probably gonna get glitter all over my face. I mean, oh well. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a more fruity berry version of Goose Creek's Tuscan Vineyard. This is more on like almost like a plum raspberry vibe to it, more than like a straight up grape vineyard vibe. Which I actually don't mind, because I'm very leery about grape-based scents, because a lot of times it just gives me bad, like, purple artificial grape sort of scent. Mojo, Jojo, Juju. I don't know what word I'm looking for. Bad vibes. But this doesn't do that. This definitely is more of like a plum, sort of raspberry, wine-esque sort of scent. I think it's quite nice. I think it's kind of soft scented in first kind of sniff of them. But I've been surprised before by things that I thought were going to be like super like faint and then ended up being really strong. So I'm not sure how this will perform, but I am curious to see. The other one from this particular brand is called Haunted Trail. And apparently this is a great apple scent. So let's take a dive in and see. Oh yeah, straight out the gate, the first thing you get is apple. It's almost like Johnny Appleseed kind of apple. But then I get like that Sensationals Autumn Air sort of scent. Or you know what this really reminds me of? This reminds me of, yeah, this reminds me of like if Johnny Appleseed from Scentsy and Autumn Road Trip from Scentsy, which came out I think this last fall, winter season, if they had a child, this is what it would smell like. Where it's like the apple pear is a little bit less less vibrant and overperforming. It's mellowed out by that like autumnal, like fresh air, outdoorsy vibe, fresh leaves. Oh, I can get behind this. This is really good. And this is actually surprisingly stronger in scent just in the clamshell than the Cabernet one was. So we'll see if that kind of reflects on how it performs in warmers, or if that's just the scent notes in general in the 2 bars, how they kind of show up in the wax. But definitely approve of this. Definitely we'll have to check them out and see what other sorts of scents they have. But very, very impressed with those so far, so we'll see. All right, next we have Sparkles Wax Melts. I was like, where's the name for this? So I have 3 little ones here. We have Mahogany Coconut, we have Black Amber and Lavender. Oh my goodness, that sounds so good. And we have the Fruity Loops scent. And I believe the Fruity Loops one is her most favorite scent from the vendor. It smells very strongly, and I'm guessing it's going to smell like Fruit Loops, Fruity Loops. I guess maybe you can't say Fruit Loops because it may be trademarked as a cereal, so that's probably what's Fruity Loops. I'm guessing that's what it's going to smell like. Woo! Okay. Yep, that's definitely strong. Okay. It kind of reminds me of Better Homes and Gardens Summer Fruit Medley, but not so heavily, like, citrusy. Like, it's definitely citrusy, don't get me wrong. But there's, like, more of a fruit component to this, like more berry tartness. And the more I smell this, the more it smells like Fruit Loops, the cereal. Like, straight up Fruit Loops. You even get, like, that powdered, sugary, like, icy dusting sort of coating that they have on there. You kind of get that vibe from this. That's so bizarre. This also kind of reminds me of Scentsy's Rainbow Sherbet sort of scent, with, like, that orange and, like, lime sort of zest and that sort of vibe. Oh man. I can tell that this is going to be a scent monster. I'll be surprised if this does not become a scent monster, but I can totally see why this is one of your favorites. It is definitely like loud and in charge. So if you like that sort of fruity tart, Fruit Loop sort of scented sort of scents, I don't know where I was going with that. You'd probably like this one as well. All right, the next one we have here is Black Amber and Lavender. And I assume that that's pretty much the scent notes here. So we have... Oh, now there's Lavender. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm kind of a snob when it comes to lavender, because a lot of times it's either like hit or miss for me. It's either like it's really on point, or it's like not. It's just like not a vibe. It's like, oh God, why? Oh, this is so good. So I clearly love black amber scents, like darker amber scents. And I do like a good lavender. I'm trying to think if this is more like herbal, medicinal, or more floral. And I think it's more of like a floral lavender. I think so. Maybe more like a French lavender even. Either way, this is like the lavender that I want it to be. And like the black amber just kind of, oh, gives it like this sultry, perfumey, slightly musky sort of note. There's like a slightly powder note because of the lavender. Oh my God, this is so good. I just want to keep smelling this. This is bringing back another memory from like when I was younger. Not that I'm like ancient by any means, but this is like a home run. I may need to just go on their website tonight and just buy more of this one right away. Holy bananas. That is great. 100% approved. All right, and then we have Mahogany Coconut, which I like coconuts. I love mahogany. Let's see what happens. This could be dangerous. Oh. Well, darn. If these perform as even half as well as they smell, I'm in trouble. That is like straight up mahogany and coconut, and I could not be any happier. But it's not like a burnt, like we had African mahogany as a Scentsy scent, and I had like such high hopes for it. And it was mahogany, but after like the second or third bar of warming it, I went from like being obsessed with it to being like, there is distinctly like a weird burnt note in this. And I don't know what it is, but it was just like unreconcilable to the point where as much as I loved it, I think I ended up pulling it out of my Scentsy club because I was just like, this is not what I expected it to be. This, however, oh man, this is like, it's not Palo Santo, but it has like that breadth of richness because of the mix of the coconut and mahogany, minus like the sort of incensey vibe that I kind of get with a Palo Santo sort of sense. Oh, this is so good. Oh, these are dangerous. These two, this black amber and lavender and this mahogany coconut are doing things for me. They're just magical. So, and I also dig that they're in these little containers that like Destination Wax uses. Because I find with these, you can break them up into 2 to 4. I usually do 3 to 4 smaller cubes out of this. Like I'll just take it out and use like a butter knife to section it into 4 sections, and it works wonders. Like, so I have never heard of this Lavender wax, and so far with these few samples, loving them. All right, so let me stop raging about those for a minute and move on, because we do have 2 more vendors to talk about. We have L3 Waxy Wonders, and then Nana Makes Sense. So let's go ahead and take a look at our L3 wax melts. So, or Waxy Wonders. So she says they have some of the best bakery and Palo Santo scents, and that the White Elephant Exchange is one of her favorites. All right, so we'll see about some of these other notes and see what happens with marshmallows and what these smell like. So let's start with Mallow Fireside, which I'm assuming is going to be their version of the like Marshmallow Fireside sort of shenanigans. And I love that these are like little mini bunt shapes. I've always been curious about getting like the bunt shapes. I usually just go for like the waxes or the single cups. So this is kind of cool to see this in its actual form. All right, so Mallow Fireside, I'm guessing, is marshmallow and like a bonfire sort of smell. Yep. It's good. It's it reminds me of Bonfire Beach minus like the oceany qualities of Bonfire Beach. It's not like a caramelized toasted marshmallow either, which I'm rather happy about because I feel like toasted marshmallows tend to get too caramelized smelling for me, and I'm not a huge caramel person in scents. Yeah. This is very similar to Bonfire Beach. And I feel like, and just as a general whole thing, I don't tend to have too many issues with like Marshmallow Fireside or Marshmallow Bonfire sort of scents. They all have a general similar profile, so this is definitely approved. Smells delicious. Next, we have Coconut Lime Breeze and Njord Mountain Dew? I don't know what a Njord Mountain Dew is, but Coconut Lime Breeze. All right, so this is gonna probably be something along the lines of like Sensationals or Better Homes and Gardens. What is it? Coconut Vacay, or one of those that's like lime and coconut. Yeah, kind of. Yep. It very much reminds me of that. It almost kind of So here's my issue with, oh, it looks like a unicorn. That's so cute. Okay. So here's my one issue with, not specifically this wax, but in general with coconut lime scents. For some reason, coconut and lime to me sometimes comes across as like a carpet cleaner scent. I don't know why. And it's not a bad scent. Like, it's not like, oh my goodness, I dislike it by any means. But it comes across to me, instead of like coconut lime, it comes across to me as like, oh, I'm cleaning my carpets and washing them today. So I do get like a lime note. I do get a coconut vibe to this. There is sort of like an ozone-y air breeze component to this. I'm not sure what they mean by Nord Mountain Dew. But I could maybe see where they're going with like the Mountain Dew vibe to it. Would I call this Mountain Dew relative to that like refreshing pear Mountain Dew maraschino cherry thing? That to me was more of like a Mountain Dew sort of vibe. This, I'm wondering if they mean like Njord is like the mountain and dew meaning like an aquatic sort of dewiness rather than like Mountain Dew. Because then that would maybe be a little more what I'm smelling. Yeah, I mean, it smells good. I will be happy to warm it. It's just, I know from personal experience so far, most of the times I warm cucumber, coconut lime scents, they tend to give me like fresh, clean carpet vibes. Or like hotel carpet vibes. All right, next we have Moody with a Booty. Well, I have no idea what this is supposed to smell like, but let's find out. That sounds great. Okay, it's like a sort of melony scent. Like cantaloupe, melon, or peach. Maybe that's peach. I think it might be peach. That could be a problem. I mean, that would... Peach would make more sense, although cantaloupe maybe too. Oh, it's definitely peach. It's peach. There's like a sweet note to this. Maybe like a creamy note as well. Kind of gives me a little bit of like apricot vanilla vibes, but not quite. Definitely more, I think, on the peach note. Which would kind of make sense if it's called Moody with a Booty, because, you know, if we're talking in emoji language, what do we use for our booties? We use the little peach symbol sometimes. I like it. I'm just curious to see how peach it's going to get when it's warmed, because that could be like a deal breaker for me, because I find that peach scents and I are not friends most of the time. But I love the name of that. That's hilarious. All right, let's move on to this next one. This is Coffee House Palo Santo Snickers Mallow. What? There's so many things in this. So Coffee House, so that's going to be a coffee vibe, right? Palo Santo is the wood, sort of spice wood thing. And then Snickers Mallow, so a sweet, like, candy, chocolatey marshmallow. Whoa, that is a weirdly great combination of scents. So, and it's a star. It's a star. I'm going to be a star someday. Once my music career takes off a little bit more. Ooh, this is really good. I do get the mallow note, I do get the Palo Santo, and I do get the Coffee House. I'm not sure I pick up necessarily Snickers, but maybe there's a little bit of a chocolatey note to this. Maybe. I mostly get the Coffee House vibes for sure, and Palo Santo, and like a hint of marshmallow. But I don't know if I would be able to pick out like a Snickers note to this, at least not on cold. But it smells good. This would be like a morning, need to like perk you up in the morning vibe. This would be one to grab, but also kind of like relax you because the Palo Santo. All right, next we have, today is October 3rd. This is Palo Santo Sugar Cookie and Royal Toasted Mallow. So we have woods, cookies, and marshmallows. Strange combination, but I'm here for it. Let's find out. Ooh, okay. That wasn't what I was expecting it to be. It's much sweeter than I expected. This reminds me... So toasted mallow kind of worried me because sometimes toasted marshmallow ends up being very caramel. This scent as a whole, maybe minus the Palo Santo note to it, which isn't really particularly prominent in this particular blend. This reminds me of the toasted marshmallow scent from the Jelly Belly wax collection from Scentsy, where it's like that sweet, creamy, more candy-esque, but not candy marshmallow, whereas like our normal toasted marshmallow was more very caramel marshmallow, which I was not about. Ooh, this is good. This would be great too because they don't make that one with Scentsy anymore, so I've been looking for sort of like a dupe for it, and this is very close to it. It smells wonderful. So I approve of this. Today is October 3rd. It's not, but the scent smells delightful. All right, so next up we have Aspen Winter. And she'd mentioned that this smells kind of like Blue Christmas, or reminds her of it. And I don't know if I would say that it reminds me particularly of Blue Christmas. I can kind of get the vibe behind it, but I feel like there's more of like a lime note to this. Lime citrus. And very much less of a like green tree note. Like I would have expected something more from the name Aspen, but like for like a green tree woodsy note. But this almost gives me like lime citrusy vibes more than it gives me like winter wonderland vibes. Unless they're going for like a lime bergamot sort of note vibe, then maybe. But then I don't think it's necessarily I guess it could like sort of remind to Blue Christmas, but it's definitely not a dupe, at least to me. And I could be confusing Blue Christmas with Homestead Holiday, but I feel like they're both fairly similar in that general like Christmassy vibe. And this one doesn't quite remind me of them, but that's just me. That's just me. So it is an interesting scent though. Next up, we have White Elephant Exchange. This is powdered donuts, vanilla wafers, white cake, and vanilla frosting. And this was one of her favorites, and it sounds like a vanilla smorgasbord, so let's just dive in. Oh my god, yes it is. So I get vanilla wafers. I get vanilla frosting right out the gate. I do get a white cake sort of smell. I do feel like I get sort of like a powdered sugar note to some extent, but I don't know. Well, maybe. I guess I kind of do get a little bit of like a donut note. I get more of like vanilla wafers, white cake, and vanilla frosting, and I feel like with a donut scent, I'm looking for like a little bit of like oily grease, like, and I'm not sure that I get that with this scent. But it's a beautiful scent, and it's a very beautiful vanilla scent, and I love that there's like a vanilla wafer note to this. Really makes it less cloying when you have different variants on vanilla as opposed to just straight up vanilla sugar. So definitely approve. I can see why this is one of your favorites. It's a really good vanilla scent. And then finally we have Black Amber, which, I mean, I love amber, and this looks like it's gonna be like a rich, like deep berry, ambery scent, but we'll find out. Yeah, there's like a deep, ripe, raspberry, blackberry, plum, something like that. And then you get the amber vibe. There's like There's like, I guess, slimy? Not slimy, like a lime citrusy sort of hint in there somewhere. There's something like light and... I think this is when she mentioned there were scent notes. Ripe blackberry, so I have the ripe berries, and cassis, so currant, with bergamot and warm amber. Okay, so bergamot, that's the mystery scent that I was like, what is that? It's subtle. It's there, but it's not like in your face. But the other scents, delicious. I mean, I clearly like my dark amber, black amber, plum sort of scents, so this one does not disappoint. All right, and that's the last for that group of waxes. The last one we have here is from Nana Makes Sense, or nanamakessense.com. And she is a vendor that Amaris accidentally found and is now one of her favorites. So apparently this vendor has a lot of marshmallow and woodsy scents. And I have a feeling I would love all of that because I'm big on woodsy scents in general. So let's dive in. Let's power through these. I know this video is probably like eons long at this point. Let's start with Deserted Island. So this is Baja Cactus Blossom, Gardenia, and Palo Santo. So quick story time. I'm not a fan of gardenias. I warmed Scentsy's Lush Gardenia. It didn't go so well. I was warming like the testers, like a couple of them in one room, nearly stunk out my house. Bad decisions were made. Since that day, I've not been a fan of gardenias. But we'll see if this one is like strong gardenia or not. And I get mostly Palo Santo on first smell. Smell? Maybe a little bit of a gardenia, like, but there's a slight, like the powdery floral in there, just ever so slightly in the background. But the bigger note is definitely the Palo Santo. I'm not sure that I smell any cactus blossom. Maybe there's like a dewiness from a cactus blossom, but that's about all I can think of. But it's mostly like the woodsy Palo Santo smell, which I'm fine with. And this would be a deserted island that I would want to be on. So there's that, deserted island. Next, we have You're on Island Time. Island theme here. Sea Island Cotton and Sweet Lavender. Okay, so this one has like a weird note to it for me. It's like, there's something about this that I'm not particularly wild about. Like, I get like a sea salty note. I get kind of a cotton vibe. It almost... I don't want to say that it's like... I don't really get a lavender scent particularly from this, but the overall scent throw doesn't... It's slightly perfumey. It's not quite... This is going to sound really weird and terrible. It kind of reminds me of like a perfumey damp dog. Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. Or like fresh out of the shower and you threw on some talcum powder. And it's like the dewy, like moisture in the the bathroom plus like talcum powder fluffing around. Like, it's just like a weird, strange sort of, I don't know. I don't think this one is particularly like my cup of tea. Despite the scent notes being something that I would probably really like. This one, just something about the combination isn't working for me in my nose. But it might change when it's warm, so we'll try it. We'll still melt it. We're going to go through it and give it an honest shot, you know. Next, we have Sweet Dreams. This is Strawberry Musk, Denim, and Cotton Candy. Now, I'm not a huge fan of strawberry scents, so we'll see how tolerable this one might be. So I do get berries right out the gate, like strawberry, but it's not as distinctly strawberry as some of the artificial strawberry scents. I do get like a denim cotton sort of vibe. Yeah, I do get that. I don't know if I get cotton candy out of this. No, I do like getting a denim cotton and like a strawberry, like musk sort of like strawberry berry sort of scent. It kind of reminds me of like a more muted version of Scentsy's pink cotton. Because Scentsy's pink cotton, like the pink berry note kind of like is a little too pungent. This one is a little bit more mellow. It's almost like pink linen versus pink cotton. And that would be what I would kind of describe this one as. I don't actually mind this one. It'll be curious to see how this performs. If this is like super laundry when it's warmed, or if it changes into something completely different. Next, we have Blushing Bunny. This is lemongrass, jasmine, and cotton candy. I do like my jasmine, that's for sure. Ooh, I get jasmine right out the gate. I do get the lemongrass. What's the other scent now? Cotton candy. Unless it's giving like a sweet sugariness, or like toning down the lemongrass note, I mostly get jasmine and lemongrass. And it kind of has like a clean, like fancy hotel sort of scent to it, or like hotel soap or something. It's not super soapy, but there's a soapy quality to it. But it's like a fancy hand soap almost, but more jasmine based with like a hint of lemon. So it's nice. It's very refreshing, fresh scent. I do like it. We'll see how it warms and performs, like if it changes or gets sweeter or whatever. You never know with scents, right, guys? Right. All right, so next we have Spring Fling. This is Carnations, Pink Sugar, and Boardwalk Marshmallow Clouds. So Destination Wax has a Boardwalk Marshmallow Cloud scent, and I think it's a Bath & Body Works type. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's a very common sort of scent that is added to some of the different vendor waxes that I've heard of or tried, and clearly in these too. I'm guessing this is going to be like boardwalk and like a slightly woodsy whipped marshmallow vibe with carnation florals, and then some extra sweetness from the sugar scent. Yep, I mean there's the florals, and it's like a fresh carnations, like fresh cut carnations. That's the first thing I get. Then I get a little bit of like the whipped marshmallow, and like there's an undertone of like woodsiness. I'm not sure I get pink sugar. I get like a sugar vibe every so often, but I wouldn't say it's like predominantly there. I think the carnations kind of burst, and then once you get over the shock of the carnation floral, then you get a little like more of the sugar vibe. Like from like Scentsy sugar, that kind of like pink sugar sort of scent. And then you get like the whipped kind of marshmallow cloud as like the base note. It's nice. It's a really good scent. I will be curious to see how this compares to something that's just like Boardwalk Marshmallow Clouds. I think I have a Destination Wax one of that. Maybe I'll warm these in opposite rooms and compare. That might be a good idea. But I like it. That's the big thing. I like it. All right, Clean Cut is next. This is Barbershop, Stainless Steel, and Blue Sugar. Don't know if I know what stainless steel is supposed to smell like. I'm guessing like a cologne-y masculine scent. Okay, so I mostly get Barbershop out of this, which is like cologne, shave cream. Yeah, like a freshly shaved me, or any gentleman who's freshly shaved kind of would smell like with that vibe. Definitely a more cologne masculine scent. I don't really know where the blue sugar note is going in this. And I'm not sure I know what stainless steel is supposed to smell like, but I'm just guessing it's some sort of cologne vibe. But I really like this. It's a softer sort of scent overall, I think. And Barbershop is definitely the main vibe there. But I like it. And I think if it is a softer scent, it would also work well as like a good blender scent. But I like it. It kind of reminds me of like, what is it, Fresh Shave or something like that from Destination Wax. All right. Next we have Mahogany, Teakwood, Marshmallow, Fireside. So that just sounds delicious. And it looks like a little bee. I mean, I love Mahogany and Teakwood. And then Marshmallow Fireside is like great, so. Oh, that's just like straight up Mahogany and Teakwood right out the gate. Oh. Yes, I just want my room to smell like this all the time. Oh, this is so sinful. Okay, I'm just gonna cut the video and just sniff this for 5 minutes because that's how good it is. Oh man, one of my new favorites. Instantly. I don't even care if it doesn't perform when it's like open and melted. I will just get a bunch of it and stick it in a drawer like, you know, like you do like the sachets or stuff. Oh man, that's so good. All right, well, that's definitely a winner. All right, Mountain Farm. This is Denim, Farm Stand Apple, and Woolen Blanket. This, so like a cottony thing meets like apples or something. Huh, yeah, it's like if you did like Windowsill Breeze from Scentsy, mixed with Johnny Appleseed, mixed with just a pinch of like Clothesline. It's like if Johnny Appleseed and a laundry scent became one together, like Johnny Appleseed Cotton or Johnny Appleseed Linen. That's really interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that combination to be so appealing, but I would totally wash my laundry with something that smelled like this and have like an apple-y cotton scent. That sounds fantastic. So that's a cool combo. I'll be very excited to see how that warms when I warm it. All right, next is Pyramids of Giza. This is Egyptian cotton sheets, Marshmallow Fireside. Are we seeing a trend here? And flannel. I mean, yes. So this is a Dragonfly. Well, you definitely get more of the Marshmallow Fireside in this one. But you also get like a fresh, clean, crisp cotton. Like not quite fluffy towels cotton, but that like fresh sheets sort of smell. And flannel, I think it just enhances the existing cotton scent in this more than necessarily being a separate entity. It just like adds a layer of coziness and warmth to it. Oh, that's good. That's another great scent. I mean, I don't think you can go super wrong with a lot of Marshmallow Fireside based scents, but this combination with the cotton sheets and flannel really gives the cotton sheets and flannel a more cozy, slight sweetness and a slight smokiness, which is really interesting. It's a great combination there. So hats off to Nana Makes Sense. You have made some really good ones, and I may have to get more of that one if that turns out really well. And the final two we have are Easter Roses, which is rose jam type Bum Bum, and Fluffy Marshmallow. I'm not sure what a Bum Bum smells like, unless we're talking about our Tutti Frutti Booties, but, or what was the one, Moody Booty or something that we had earlier? All right, so I'm not a big fan of rose scents, just in general disclaimer. So we'll see if this one doesn't seem like it's going to be overwhelming, so we'll see. Okay, so I get a rose. It's definitely not like fresh rose petals. It's like a rose, as it says, rose jam. So it's like a sweet, almost quite like borderline like a deep, rich berry scented jam. Berry scented, a berry jam. With like a rose tone to it. It's It's very perfumey. It's almost a little powdery or musky. I would say this is like almost like a refined, mature perfume sort of scent. Like a more mature, maybe an older, sophisticated perfume scent, rather than like a young, fresh, dewy one or something like that. I do get a little bit of the marshmallow vibe from these. It's not overwhelmingly marshmallow, but it kind of sweetens up and lightens up the rose kind of jam note in here, and kind of mellows out some of the musk that I'm kind of getting from it. It's a really nice scent, and I don't think it's something that I would have went out of my way to try, so I'm actually really excited to be able to try it now and see how I feel about it, because I know with like a lot of like our Simply Rose scents, it's just too much for me. All right, last but not least by any means, this is a custom scent called Good Morning, and this is French baguette, fresh baked bread, and espresso. I mean, if we find a good espresso scent, I'll be very happy, because espresso is hard to find like a good one. Like usually you'll get it and you're like, ooh, it's espresso, and then you go to warm it and you're like, what is this? This, let's find out what it smells like. It smells like I just put my nose into freshly ground coffee or espresso beans. Oh my gosh. That is a great espresso scent, and I do get a little bit of the fresh baked bread in there. I don't know if I get French baguette, but I do get like that bready sort of like background note, and it kind of balances out and cuts through like the sharpness of espresso, because espresso can be a little bit harsh on the nose. That's why we use like coffee to clear scents, like when you're going and smelling perfumes and things and colognes. But in this case, it kind of like rounds out and mellows out some of the espresso scent, and it really gives it a nice balanced sort of coffee house, espresso, upscale coffee shop sort of scent. You also get like almost a little bit of a pastry vibe from this, but it's not sweet, so it's like that nice doughy flour sort of hint in the background, rather than just like sweet confectionery. Oh, this is good. This would be a great like morning, afternoon scent if you need like a pick-me-up perk scent. This is a great custom scent. Good, fantastic choice there. I am so excited to see how this warms, because I am still on the hunt for a really good coffee scent that I like. So, if that one ends up being it, my round of applause to you. All right, and with that, we have made it through all of these other wonderful wax samples. Thank you so much, Amaris, for sharing all of these with me and allowing me to share them with everyone who has been watching my channel. I hope if you are either new here or returning, you may have found a new vendor wax to try out. Some of these sound super intriguing. Some of them smell super great. Overall, really impressed just in general with the different scents and how they smell on cold. Obviously, when they warm, it'll be a whole nother story. So I will plan on getting back to and kind of giving a review and breakdown of some of these in my fragrance feedbacks. I'm still trying to figure out a format for those that works most effectively. Right now, it's kind of like a mix of like non-Scentsy and then Scentsy, but we'll figure it out. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing these. I'm so stoked to warm these. I will be warming these probably starting tomorrow. I am so excited. I don't even know where to start. Maybe I'll start with the Hulk. Maybe that will be the first one. That being said, if you enjoyed this video or it was informative or entertaining, please consider hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. It really means a lot to me and I would appreciate it. And hopefully I will see you in our next video. And with that, I will let you go because I need to go and decide what I'm going to go warm first. Oh my goodness. All right, well, have a wonderful day and I will catch you all in the next video. Take care. Bye.